Hi, guys. I'm Dave. I'm the executive director here at Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet.
And my name's Chaplain Chaz Blackburn, and I'm on the board of directors for Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet.
We have a very special guest with us today. Why don't you introduce yourself, Nico?
My name's Nico Columbus, and I'm here as the coordinator of the Our Town Reno website, which has a lot of social media channels, including Biggest Little Streets on Instagram. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for being here. Huge blessing. Thank you.
Yeah, our town Reno is just a huge resource to me for the community. You guys always share other resources. You really report on the truth, and so it's an honor to have you here. Thank you.
Yeah, when Chaz let me know you were going to be on, I followed Art Down Reno when I was younger. I
Yeah,
followed. What was it on Instagram? Biggest Little Streets.
Biggest Little Streets,
Big,
correct.
and I followed that on Instagram a long time ago.
Not that long ago.
Not that long
yeah,
ago.
No.
you're
Come on.
pretty good,
What?
bud.
When was it?
So it started in 2016.
Okay, 2016, and we'll dive more into that in a little bit because you're our community resource this week. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing what you do with our community. I really appreciate that. So let's start out with just explaining to you, the viewer or listener, what we're doing and what this podcast is for and who it is for. What are some of your thoughts, Chess?
I just blanked. Well, we're in the community for the community, and really, community cares. We always talk about we're stronger united, and it's important that we come together, regardless of differences and walks of life, and that we just work together and we talk about the resources and we talk about fun events, and that's how we're going to move forward in a more positive direction as a community.
Yeah, it's really important for us as a community to come together because we're better together, right?
Absolutely.
As a community, we really need to focus on how we can make the community a better place for everyone, not just for some or for other people, right?
Absolutely.
How can we, as resources, as community partners, work to make this a better place to live for everyone? And I really do believe partnering together and working together is the solution to make that happen. And that's why we started this podcast.
Yeah.
Was we wanted to share with people, hey, there's a lot more than just Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet. There's a lot more than Our Town Reno. There's more than just the things you know about. And there's so much to learn. There's so much growth in the city right now.
We've already had people saying, wow, I didn't know that about that resource. Like Catholic Charities about the ID, how they'll pay to have your ID made.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's just great. Knowledge is power, and just communicating and having diverse people on the show. It's going to be great.
And feel free to interject whenever you'd like.
Sure.
This is very conversational. The whole idea behind this show is we're really just trying to have conversations with people.
Yeah, sure. Our Town Reno, started basically as trying to tell the story of our underdogs in the community. Don't forget the underdogs. Humanize the underdogs. We're small enough, we're growing quickly, but we're small enough that we can really recognize people that we see every day. I recognized people walking in this morning that I had seen
that.
previously. That's what Reno still is. So I like your message.
Oh,
I
thank
like
you,
your
brother.
hat too. That's cool. It's a vintage Our Town
The only
Reno
Our
hat.
Town Reno hat made by Gracie Gordon, one of our amazing student reporters in our short history.
Oh,
Good
that's
job,
awesome.
Gracie. Awesome.
Good job. So yeah, let's dive in. Normally we start the show with some upcoming events. So let's share some upcoming events in the community.
So our first one is Black Wall Street. They have a fundraiser on September 9th on Saturday from 5 to 9 p.m. It's going to be at the McKinley Center for Arts, and it's $75 a person. You get a little bit of a discount if you buy a table. But Donald, most people know Donald. He's a great guy. Huge testimony from where he came from and where he is now. And I see him all over the community all the time at different events. And
Yeah.
just a great guy, great team, great organization.
He's been at a couple of our events. So he was at our event here, a back to school one with Anthem, and then they also came to, I think it was the Faith Academy one, my wife's private school that she's starting.
That's
So
awesome.
they were there as well. So yeah, great people.
And that's part of what we do as well. We have a hashtag help each other out.
Yeah.
And so we like to promote different groups who do amazing things in the community, including volunteers. Sometimes we help them with branding, come up with a name, and sometimes with our articles, people don't know about each other, and
Right.
then they team
For
up.
sure.
Like
Yeah.
I love it when people are teaming up in the community.
Yeah. No. I'm gonna get real for a minute. When we submitted
Uh-oh.
our first event to you, I was so nervous. I was like, because I knew you. Oh, I knew the organization. I knew what you guys were doing. I'm like, are they gonna say yes or no? Like, because
If it's doing good, helping people, we're there.
there you go. There you go. Doing good, helping people. Just so you guys know, this is not a live episode. So if you're commenting, still comment, still let us know what you're doing, how you're doing, and if you have questions, we'll follow up with our next live episode that we have. This is pre-recorded because, hey, guess what? Today is a holiday. So hopefully you're cooking some hot dogs while
Happy
you're listening.
Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day. Yeah, hopefully.
Yes, we have a hashtag Workers of Reno. We love Workers of Reno.
That's right.
Happy Labor Day to all you workers out there.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of what we're doing right now.
And thank you to all those who are working on Labor Day and can't be at home with their families. Thank you for being there for the community as well.
Absolutely. So our next event is, these are all your events, Chas. I didn't put any events on here.
Hey.
Wait
It's
a
that time of
second.
year. No, the Believe event is so powerful. So
Yeah.
we launched this last year. For those of you who don't know, I'm a chaplain with Circle of Life Community Hospice and also on the board of directors for the Circle of Life Hospice Foundation, which is launching Northern Nevada's first hospice house that's no payer for people to die in comfort and dignity. And something we also do besides helping our hospice patients, like
Yeah.
we had a gentleman who broke a tooth, we had his tooth pulled so that he could enjoy food the last month of his life and have some comfort. We do things like simple things like maybe buy bed sheets for our
Yeah.
patients when they get the DME delivered. But another fundamental part of that foundation is grief support. And so we do this big event, and it's going to be an annual event, and it's at the Believe sign downtown.
Yeah.
It's going to be from 6 to 8 p.m. on September 14th. And this year's not going to be so hot. Last year we did it in late August.
But people
it
showed
was
up still.
hot.
People
Almost
showed up.
300 people.
Yeah, that's great.
It was great, but the feedback we got is some people wanted to get off work, and we understood that. So
Yeah.
we're going to do 6 to 8 p.m. September 14th. Bring a picture that you can leave. We're going to have these giant community boards laid out. What are you laughing about? Oh, you just saw it?
I just noticed your jacket.
It says,
What's going on here?
Community Cares Podcast. We're starting to get branded.
Oh my goodness, where's
It's
mine?
the only best ever made so far.
I'll put some money in it. Let's go. Yeah, no, we're gonna be there. Good Shepherd will have a table. So, but obviously you'll be doing other things.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great event, great community event. A lot of people come out and just to believe, to have hope, to not just wallow in that that loss and
Yeah.
that depression, right?
And to celebrate the lives of your loved ones. We have people who lost someone in a car
Mm.
accident from COVID, someone who unfortunately took their life, a loved one.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what kind of loss, even if it's not a personal, like someone, a loved one that you've lost. Maybe you lost a job or a relationship. We're all on this journey of grief together.
Right.
And there's power. We believe there's power in unity, power in being together, and it is so powerful when we light each other's candles and the community's candles just get lit as a unified community. I've never seen so many different walks of life in one place, and I love that.
I'm excited.
So please bring a picture if you're going to come to put on our community boards, a foldable chair. We're going to have some plastic axe throwing for the kids, some face painting, and we're going to make it a celebration of life for those that we've lost, and we hope that you can make it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll be there for sure, and I think it's a great thing. I love it. I love it. So our last event is also for the hospice house, right?
Well, the first one's grief support for the
Oh,
community.
I'm sorry.
right?
I'm
So,
sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But the next one we have is an Aces game. It's a last home game, so come on
Yeah.
out. And we get half the ticket proceeds for through our QR code for the hospice house we're launching. You can go to colhospice.com to get that information, or our Facebook. And make sure you please use our QR code. You get $1 hot dogs. Who doesn't love that? And check this out. They're giving free Aces hats with our tickets this year.
Yeah.
So you get a ball cap, a $1 hot dog, and it's for obviously a great cause.
It is a great cause.
September 17th, I think it's at, well, if you go to our website, I think it's at 1:05 or 6:05 p.m. But it's all they gave that day, obviously. So.
I think that's great. That's awesome. great way to support Circle of Life.
And my next event is for me as well. And I'm just kidding.
I'm like, what? We already did 3. What are you talking about?
Just kidding.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for all of that. But no, I will not have a hot dog.
Oh, you're vegan. Or no, you're vegetarian.
Yeah, you know that.
Quinoa
You know
man.
that. Oh my goodness. Oh
The
my
first time I met
They don't
this
have
guy.
veggie hot dogs.
No,
Not
they
great in
don't.
Nevada. No?
Uh-oh.
They
You should write an
should.
article on that. No. The
The
first,
hot dogs are expensive though, so $1. That's a good deal.
That's a really good
they're
deal.
super expensive, yeah. So
Yeah. Were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna talk crap. So
Oh, buddy.
just when I met you, I've already said on a different show, but just you brought this little. It was for lunch, and you brought this cute little container with quinoa in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, this guy's a hipster.
We gotta have Christopher Dare on the podcast.
Yeah.
That's how we met. Was Councilman Dare in the city of Sparks. Great guy. Great guy.
He's all right. Just kidding.
Whoa.
No,
I
he's-
think he watches this. He
Uh-oh.
likes some stuff. So you're in trouble.
He'll be happy. He's on his way to go see his grandbaby. So
Yeah. Yeah, so that's honestly I mean, there's a lot going on. Our last couple episodes, we talked about the balloon races. We talked about all the different things that are happening in the community. There's a lot to do. If you're bored around here, that's your fault. Because every week there's something going on. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so excited you're here. Is that's the main thing you guys do, is spread the word about what's happening in the community, and then also sharing stories of people, which is beautiful. So why don't you tell us a little bit more for some people who may not know what you do and your guys' mission?
So initially, I did a documentary about setting up the Eddie House, and the main character in that film was a young woman who had gone to UNR while being unhoused.
Yeah.
And was able to fight through that and still graduate. And then after I finished the documentary, I decided to go from documentary to a running documentary as a hybrid between journalism and social media. Mm-hmm. And that was the very beginning of when a lot of the motels were being bought out and torn down.
Right.
And so, I was noticing in local media there wasn't that much attention to the motel residents themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Where were they going? What was their life story? And also the people who owned the motels, what was their story? Why did they run motels? Why were they selling them? So I thought at that juncture that it was important to tell those stories. And a lot of the reporters for Our Town Reno are students at UNR, journalism students.
That's great.
And I also noticed a lot of them early on their student careers would write articles about the unhoused.
Yeah.
But as they moved along with their internships, other opportunities, they moved away from that. That's what
Okay.
I was noticing. So I wanted them to remember that these stories are important, not just as your first story, because you have easy access to people on the streets. You
Right.
don't have to schedule an appointment, you just
Sure.
walk up to them. But I noticed students were moving away from that as they were getting older. And I also wanted to do a website which reminded them that these stories are important throughout your career, whatever you do. It's important to interact with all members of the community
Oh, yeah.
and to hear from them. What are their stories? What are their struggles? What are their successes? What do they need from the community?
Right. That's a person. Right.
Exactly.
Human being.
And like I was saying, that Reno's a small town.
Right.
A lot of our stories, when we profile someone else will go meet them the next day and
Yeah.
we'll offer them a job. We'll offer them sometimes housing. And more importantly,
Wow.
we'll offer them friendship. And that happens time and time again. I even have the mayor calling me if there's a certain story that really moves her. And
Wow.
she will get on the phone herself and try to help that person. So that's the idea, is to create these connections.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that at Good Shepherds. It's not just about the close. It's that hope and dignity and just that personal touch of talking and socializing with the individual, knowing their name and their story, I mean, we miss that. Even people that are giving food on the street, sometimes you see them just hand them a bag. It's like, no, take some time, have a conversation with them. They want to be known,
Right.
so that's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's vital. I think that's vital for the growth of the city. I don't think we're going to be able to be healthy if we're not coming together, if we're not working together, and stories aren't heard, right?
And obviously, there's different ways to help, but if you see like your best friend or a family relative drowning, what are you
Right.
going to do? Are you going to sign them up for swim lessons? Or, are you going to jump in there and try to save them?
Absolutely.
So that's kind of a metaphor, but I understand the debates are important. How to help people? There's
Absolutely.
many different ways to help people, but sometimes it's an emergency situation, and just giving someone, like you were telling me before the show, a coat, that's important too.
Yeah.
It is.
Staying warm during cold months, absolutely. And if a lot of our viewers, I've said that story on past videos, but it is, I think it's so important to be able to just help people. Which is such a crazy thought process, because when you see someone on the side of the road with a sign that just may need a little help, and I know I pass judgment all the time. I don't mean to, but I do. And that's the reality. I do.
Right.
What are they going to do with it if I give them?
Right.
Why do I care? And that's the question I have to ask myself. Why do I care? Now, that's why I think resources like Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet, like Catholic Charities Downtown, like all these different resources are important to help those in need. Absolutely. But I think one of my missions as executive director here is to destigmatize people. Because I guarantee you, when I get those new volunteers here, and the store's open, they see people in need and they pass judgment unintentionally, but then over time it melts away.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're like,
When you really get to know the people you're helping, it's
Right.
very different.
these are humans.
And every story is so different from each other. And these are,
Yeah.
people are struggling. They have very long, difficult stories that led to this moment.
Right.
And you're talking about, a panhandler. What they write on their sign might not be true, but they're still standing there for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
Oh yeah.
And so, they're not having a great day, obviously, so.
But I mean, what I love about what you guys are doing is it breaks that stigma as well, right? You bring those stories to the people that really need to hear the stories. And I know it's so easy. Instantly, you start passing. Everyone does. So it's a society issue. It really is. And we as a society need to come together and realize that there's more than just me, myself, and I.
And the other
Right.
part of what we do, I'm dropping a lot of hashtags, but I like these hashtags because if you research them, you see all of our work on these particular topics. So we have Heroes of Reno, Sheroes of Reno hashtags. And so another big part of what we do is really promote, volunteers
Awesome.
or organizations doing great work, because it can be difficult. It's exciting to set something up, but to do
Right.
the daily
Right.
grind, it's difficult. And so we like to uplift those types of people too, who have the biggest hearts. And there's so many in Reno and Sparks, Northern Nevada.
Okay, wait. Before you interject, you were
I'm
right.
not interjecting.
You were right. You were right.
But
You were right. I gave Chaz so much crap about hashtags. Not that long ago, I'm like, they don't work. They don't matter.
tells
He's
the
like,
story.
no, it does. Trust me. I'm like, all right.
I don't
fine."
think they matter as much as they used to if you analyze social media.
Still, yeah.
But if you're the only one using a certain hashtag, it's kind of fun because
Right, because then you can.
it's an
identify-
archive and you
Right.
can research your own work, and other people can also do a deep dive.
Because
So it's not really
here is
it's
all
not
like-
really for traction anymore like it used to be,
Okay.
but it does facilitate certain search
It has a purpose.
capabilities. Yeah.
Yeah.
Circle of Life, we love our community.
Yeah.
And it's cool because you can click on it and see all the things that we've done in different
Brilliant.
areas. So it's just neat.
All right, fine.
There's power in our stories. That's
You've got more followers than me. You know
It's not
that.
about the followers though.
I'm just joking around, man.
Don't say stuff like that.
Oh, buddy. But no, seriously, I want to talk about that for sure because you guys do that excellently.
But it is also
So-
about followers, because the idea that we're a hybrid between journalism and social media
Right.
is to have readers who do not consume media elsewhere than on social media.
Right.
So we've started posting as much of the articles as we can within an Instagram post.
Okay.
There's a lot of young people or people from marginalized communities. They only read on social media these days.
Right.
So, and they enjoy reading actually. But it's just that they don't go to regular journalism websites anymore. And then there's a lot of websites that have paywalls, that are not
Oh, yeah.
accessible.
Even the local ones.
Yeah.
Even some like you're absolutely
Yeah,
right.
a lot of the local ones. So, I mean, there's good and bad about social media, obviously.
Yeah.
There's a lot on both sides of that spectrum. But, that's part of our strategy and philosophy is to have more readers from communities that
Yeah.
do not buy news, pay for news.
You're absolutely right. I don't think I've ever picked up a newspaper ever. I don't think so.
But
Unless
they do watch YouTube, so this is on YouTube.
Dude.
So
Oh, yeah.
I kind of miss
Yeah.
like having a newspaper.
Really?
Back in the day, yeah. Because
Were you a newspaper person?
I like reading something.
Okay.
And touching the pages.
Yeah, I was a weird homeschooler. We didn't have anything.
That makes a lot more sense. I was just kidding. Love you.
Yeah, no, we grew up with no cable, no newspaper, nothing.
Oh.
We watch some news sometimes,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're always like, how do you know how to do that stuff? Because I had a lot of free time.
Yeah.
A lot of free time.
But there's a lot of value to human conversation,
Oh, yeah.
And that's something you notice in northern Nevada. People know so much about what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's really underreported.
Yeah.
Because we don't have actually that many news outlets. We have, excellent ones, but we don't have that many.
Okay.
And people are so knowledgeable, and that comes through in social media as well.
Yeah, it's just like the recent teen suicides that nobody's talking about, and I won't go too far into it, but there are good things happening with the school district, and I'm confident that the community is going to come together and find some solutions that have been talked about. But it's true, there's a lot that's not covered that the people start talking and knowing about. But that's why what you do is so important.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, we really appreciate you being here and sharing that with us and the heart behind it, because that matters too. Like, people may know the page, but do they really know the heart behind what you're doing and why you're doing it?
I thought you were a girl, so.
Okay.
No, it's just the way you were responding.
Oh, okay. Well, we're initially from France. We were, what's that term? Metrosexual. We always wear the scarf, and
Yeah.
So maybe it's that French style that came through in my writing.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So you migrated over here then?
My dad he was a scientist and preferred working in the U.S. than in France.
Wow.
He's gone back to France because he prefers to be retired in France. But he very much enjoyed working in the U.S. He was very good at math, and there was more opportunity here, fewer politics than in France when you're working
Really?
a mathematician type job. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Different worlds. Old Europe,
Sure.
different things, but they have similar groups to what you're doing, and so it's good to be cross-cultural, to also learn from other cities in the U.S. We all have our own journeys, and to learn from other places, and to try to all try together, and if something works well somewhere else, we have an ideas for progress section where we sort of do that, where if we think this is an interesting idea, hey, maybe Reno should try that.
Yeah. No.
And we call ourselves Reno, but it is Northern Nevada.
Really
It's just that a lot of the student reporters and myself live in Reno, so we do mostly Reno, but occasionally we'll do some Spark stories.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. We're right now. Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet is in Sparks, but like you guys, we serve a lot of people. I had an email the other day. Someone asked, I'm from Fernley. Can I come into town and get clothes from you? Absolutely. You can come and get clothes. Our bar is very low intentionally. There is a bar, and it does matter. And we do keep track. We have a computer system. We do keep track of when people shop and those kinds of things. It's not connected to the internet, so it's completely safe intentionally, right? So it's completely for us and what we need. But we serve over 700 clients every single month.
Yeah, that's amazing.
We give away $70,000 worth of clothing every single month
At thrift store prices.
And I'll tell you what, I've seen
I
some
just
donations.
checked it out. It's a very nice vibe here. Very well organized.
Thank you.
I'm impressed. I've seen a few of these places, and this one has, it doesn't feel intimidating when you walk in. It feels very helpful.
Good.
And that was part of that's a big part of what our mission is to create a dignified shopping experience.
Yeah.
They leave with hope and dignity because they were able to pick out the clothing they wanted to pick out. It wasn't someone here's a bag of stuff,
Right,
right?
right. It's nicely presented here. Yeah.
Thank you.
We've
Thank you.
been serving for over 25 years, and I love that because there's such deep roots in this community for this organization. I had no idea until I got involved about a year ago.
Yeah, I suckered you onto the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On
Oh,
all
man.
truth, it's
Oh, no.
no, it's an honor to be a part of this organization because we do help people, and you see people with smiles walking out. And
Sure.
it's very humbling. I do some work at the CARES campus, but being here and just we've had families come in after a fire.
Yeah.
You see immigrants who can't get help anywhere, and everybody deserves to have clothes on their back and be treated with dignity. So
So when we were downtown Reno, because that's where we started, it was downtown Reno. 90 to 95% of our clients were probably unhoused individuals. Now we're still serving those people, but with the cleaner environment, it creates a more welcoming space for people that are just lower income that need a little help. And so now 60% of our clients are unhoused individuals. So we're still helping that same demographic downtown. Volunteers of America, we're partnered with them. They actually have a van that goes from the CARES campus to here during our open days. So we're still serving that population because that's one of the questions we get a lot. Oh, you abandoned downtown. No, we didn't abandon downtown. We're still actually serving that community. Furthermore, we're working on a micro closet expansion project right now.
Oh, wow.
multiple.
And the first one's almost done. It'll be at Bristlecone. Thank you, Peter. We're going to have you on the podcast soon for sure. Peter's a good friend of mine. He's the executive director at Bristlecone.
Okay.
And they have treatment facilities, and we're going to have a women's one and a men's one. In a micro closet where they can just get the clothing they need because they'll come off the streets sometimes and they literally have almost nothing. So to be able to provide that to them would be great. Furthermore, Crossroads comes here almost every week. We have all sorts of different organizations that utilize this service. So we're definitely a big part of those steps, right? So.
Definitely.
And a big demographic we're starting to see, which is not great, but it's great that they're getting the knowledge of this resource, is seniors.
Right.
Who are really struggling to pick between prescriptions and food with the rent increases and different things. So they deserve clothes as well, and
Right.
sheets and blankets. And so I really like how we're becoming more diverse in who we're serving.
Absolutely.
That's a sad trend. The Social Security is just not covering our higher cost of living these
Right.
days. That just breaks my heart.
It does. It really does. I was at a senior coalition meeting this morning at the county, and there's the one thing I will say is we have some great people in this community that do care, and as we start continuing to push initiatives forward, we see those people coming together. But it is a heartbreaking thing.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad we're able to be a part of that step, right? That next step for people. That's why I mention a lot on this podcast and on other videos we've done. I love the fact that we're a part of like the Reno Works program, these organizations that are trying to help people more than just here's some
Shout out to Nick,
stuff.
who's now at the VOA in a different role, but he's a great guy.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy. He's been on. We did a video with him.
What's his last name? Chikar? Is that him? That Nick?
What's Nick's last name?
I
Nick. I'm
only
sorry.
know my
I
name.
think
Nick
he-
watches this podcast
I think
too.
he was in our original documentary.
I think so.
Yo,
As he was part of that group that did 48-hour outreach
Yeah.
to set up
With
the Eddie House.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
so
Okay.
he was in the first film
Okay.
which started the Our Town Reno project.
awesome.
What's his last name now?
I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it is Chikar.
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know if it's.
I'm still just gonna call you Nick.
Chikar.
I don't know. Now I'm in trouble with all my friends
Oh, you're welcome.
on one podcast. This was all your fault, Chaz.
Oh man.
No, it's awesome to be able to partner with organizations like the Reno Works, and they come here and to get clothing. We featured them last week on our episode. They come to get clothing for interviews, for work, steel-toed boots, all sorts of things that they need. A van full of guys that just need a little extra support. So that excites me, being able to be a part of a solution for the community, and also helping those who just need help. So it's both and, right? It really is. It needs to be.
We can't always fix everything. We know that.
Right.
But just showing people love, it makes a difference.
One thing I've noticed recently, interacting with a few people going through difficult challenges, we need more 24/7 that's not just 911. I've noticed that
Okay.
because we have so many great programs in the community, but sometimes someone realizes that they're really hitting a wall and it's like 9 p.m. on a Sunday,
Yeah.
and sometimes
Good
they have a
Right.
hard time, you know, going to a safe place because there's so much need. Sadly, we have all these great resources that keep building up in the community,
Right.
but sometimes everything is full and no one's answering the phone. I've noticed that trying to help a few people out a few times. You've maybe noticed that, but it's not easy. Do you guys know about that resource? Where can someone go if they've tried the shelters, they've tried the domestic violence hotline, and nothing's working?
So, I mean, there's no resource that is that excellent.
Right, right.
There's
No, I know.
nothing
We're
24/7
combining
all the
but,
time.
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of great resources in the community.
Yeah, no, I know.
And there's a lot of places for people to get the help they need. But honestly, something that you're mentioning, like they can't get into cares, they can't get into the rest. Now, there are ways to help those people, absolutely. But to get it that quick
Right, right.
is probably not realistic right now.
Yeah.
Which is sad,
It is sad. I agree.
but we can work towards that. I'm not sure how that would look like.
And
What that would look like.
we have some ideas at Good Shepherd to solve that piece. We can't talk about it yet, but we do have some solution to hopefully help
Yeah, like a
with that.
24-hour, a 24/7 resource hub type thing, and then we'll just leave it at that. But that is
Yeah.
neat.
Yeah.
And our board is working on something because we recognize that issue too. We recognize that it's hard.
Or to have even a phone line where someone is actually from the community answering that phone.
Absolutely.
In some capacity to help that person
Yes.
calm them down and maybe.
That's good.
Yeah, because even 211 is not 24/7,
Right,
which is a great resource
Yeah,
for
yeah.
resources. We do have a Great Basin Chaplain Corps dispatch line, but it's only for our community partners. We did get a small grant from the Washoe County commissioners and from our residents, because that's really where the money comes from.
Right.
And we plan to build something called a CRT team, which is Community Response Team.
Yeah.
And they will be trained and on call 24/7 just to be able to support the community. And
Yep.
trained chaplains that are non-denominational and trained in crisis intervention. But
great.
that is something we've talked about, and when that happens, we'll be able to release that line to the public, not just our partners. But
That's great.
that is a huge need, because there are those people. There's the pregnant woman who just ran away from her husband, and
exactly.
she needs to get into our a shelter, and maybe the CARES campus is not safe for her, or just to even call. Maybe she doesn't even have transportation to
Right.
get there, or anybody that she can contact, because they might
Her
call
phone's
right?
about to die.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of
So
things.
it is a challenge, but there are some different programs being worked on. So we'll keep you apprised of that when those get closer to launching.
And what can I ask you? This is all about stories, right? What you do is about stories. So I'm sure you can't pick a favorite as a journalist. I'm sure a lot of them are they're your babies. You work on them, right? These matter. There are.
I do have a favorite though.
Oh, you do?
good.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
So, I did meet Wendy Wigglesworth one day walking along the Truckee River.
Okay.
She had actually contacted me because I had written about her friend. So, and she was living along the Truckee River, and she very wise. And as soon as I met her, I could tell that she had this aura about her, was helping so many people around her. And she ended up, first volunteering at the overnight shelter on 4th Street when they had an overflow overnight shelter. Then she ended up living in a motel. Then she ended up getting different outreach jobs in the community that people who read about her, introduced her to.
Wow.
But these arcs aren't always perfect, and she's actually struggling right now again. So we helped, promote her GoFundMe, and she's trying to find her steps back to finding lodging again. She had been living at the Desert Rose Inn for a while, but shout out to Wendy Wigglesworth. So and we did maybe 4 or 5 stories about her.
Wow.
And actually, her friend, I see a skateboard here. her friend was a legendary skateboarder who sadly passed away.
Oh.
And we had done several stories about his arc as well.
Wow.
And we've done other stories about people who've gone from unhoused to motel to, Section 8 housing to doing much better. And not all those stories have a perfect arc success to them.
Sure.
But we try also to do these continuous updates because it informs the rest of the community when they already know about someone to see how challenging but also how rewarding it can be.
That's so awesome.
Wow. See, I said one story.
Right, no, and I came up with way more.
You were like, okay, so I have this story, and then
Right,
it branches
no.
off here and here and
That's
here.
my French side, like I warned you
But
about.
that's the community, though, right? It's this web of
I
interactions
know,
and
it's cool.
stories, and it's cool. Yeah.
It was really cool.
There was a man once who was sleeping, in the doorway of a home, and we did the story. And the next day, people were helping him with trying to set him up
That's amazing.
with a room at least for a couple weeks. We have a lot of stories like that.
Yeah, no, I love what you guys are doing. I love the stories.
And then we also try to ask questions because we also want to see, big picture solutions like you're talking about.
Right.
So, immediate help, but also let's think of the whole system, the whole infrastructure we have and how do we make it better. So sometimes we will be, critical of certain programs and, that's not always received well, but our idea is to be constructive
Yeah.
to push towards even better.
Yes.
Right.
And I think a lot of people try to solely rely on the government for these solutions, which obviously we can't do.
No.
And so it takes volunteers, like you were talking about, which we have this little-
Nonprofits, the private sector, it's everything.
It's
We're not in
everything
La La
coming
Land.
together,
It's
though.
not just
Yeah.
government.
The problem is
system
sometimes
we
we're
live
so
in.
competitive as nonprofits and things when really we talk about this all the time. We have to come together and we get better results, if we work together.
I have heard from executive directors that I won't work with you because I'm not going to say who they are, but because you're going for the same grant as us.
Which is ridiculous.
yeah.
And
There's
and
that.
and that is not okay.
No.
We have to believe in the community. We have to believe that what we're doing as nonprofits or community resources really matters to the point that, hey, guess what? You're here on our show talking with us long form about what you're doing in the community and what you believe in. That's great. And we're able to share with you what we're doing in the community. And then you can share it, right? Because we're better together. We're better together. We need to be united.
Yeah.
We need to be more than just, this is my corner. You stay out of my corner, right? How can we work together? How can we make this happen? How can we help the community blossom and grow into something better for human beings that need support?
Yeah. Interfaith, every kind of walk of life, working together.
Yeah. It matters. It matters a lot. And I know I forget it. I'm guilty of it. Forgetting that. Oh, jealousy or whatever else, right?
It's a daily reminder in the society we live in, just because of all the negativity and division.
Yeah.
And we won't get political, but just from all sides,
Right.
And so we have to contribute positive things together.
Yeah, division. So we
And like I said, also we live a lot on social media, which can
Right.
be extremely toxic.
Just a little.
No.
So
you're telling me.
that's
Oh my
so-
goodness. Oh
we
boy.
still push on.
Yeah,
That's right.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Better together for sure. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. We actually went a little over our normal time.
Okay,
So
well, you can
That's all
trim
right.
it a little bit.
Special.
Thanks for having me.
I ain't gonna trim it. This was good stuff.
Yeah.
There was a lot of gold in there. Thank you.
It's an honor to have you on. Thank
Thank you so
for
much.
taking the time. And
And thank you for what you do.
Yeah, and so if this is your first time listening to our podcast, just to let you guys know, we're at Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet. We're a nonprofit that gives away clothes free to those in need. There's no register. People come in, they're able to shop. Our clients are able to shop for clothing and get over $200 worth of clothing every time they come. Now, not everyone doesn't necessarily get that clothing, but we do offer it to them. So sometimes people just I just need a t-shirt for an interview. Okay, get the t-shirt. And anyone that walks through our doors, we really do try to help as much as possible. Whether it's we have a community resource area in the store where people can go and find all sorts of different organizations that we're partnered with where they can learn more, or they can ask a lot of our volunteers. I'm the only paid staff. That's the reality of it. This guy's not paid. He's here serving his time.
Yeah, you won't even buy me coffee creamer.
I can't afford your creamer. You want the organic stuff, dude.
Canola oil is bad for you.
He-
so-
He laughs a lot, though. It goes to show you when you help others, you get so much in return.
Absolutely. So yeah, we give away that. We give away we give away over $70,000 worth of clothing every single month, and we're asking you to come alongside what we're already doing. You can find out more about Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet at gsccreno.org or getclothes.org, and you can also sign up and help us by joining the 600 at 20 program. It's just ordinary people like me, like you, like anyone else, gives $20 a month, and that helps those people in need. Helps us keep our lights on so they can have a clean, dignified shopping experience. So our overhead is very, very low compared to a lot of nonprofits. So us being able to get that support from people, that's the only reason we're open as a nonprofit. We were this close. I say this story to all sorts of different people all the time. We were this close to closing.
Yeah, it was
We were this close. And
even
whether
than that. Yeah.
whether or not we close, people are still going to try to come to us. People are still going to try to come to our doors. There will be people knocking on those doors right there
No, the
if
need
we
is there.
close. So for you signing up for 620, that helps us keep our lights on. That helps people like Michael, like Timothy, like the people that you see on these videos on our page.
And if you can't do that, it's okay, because we know there's a lot of people having a hard time just sharing this podcast or our social media stories about people in the community, or even volunteering down here to sort clothes. It all matters.
It all
Thank
matters.
you for your support of just watching this podcast. And I did want to say our cheesy hashtag line. It's not a hashtag, but it is. Be the change you want to see in the world. You know, it's through those actions.
Where can people find you?
So Our Town Reno is on ourtownreno.com. On Instagram, we're Biggest Little Streets. We're on Facebook. And we're also on Twitter, also on TikTok as Our Town Reno. We have videos as well.
Is there anything you wanted to plug? Anything you wanted to share with the community?
No, just you can always reach out to Our Town Reno if you're doing something positive in the community, or if you know someone doing something positive in the community, or if you need help and you want to share your story. We're always willing to, profile you, show you as you are, and spread the word to the community.
Hey,
It's awesome.
thank you so much for coming. We really
Thanks
appreciate
for having
it.
me.
We help 600 people a month, no matter what. We're asking you to come alongside and help one.
Have a good night, guys. Or I guess day.
Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day.